This stage of the vulnerability management lifecycle involves evaluating your assets to gain insights into the risk profiles of each. This enables you to prioritize the elimination of risks based on multiple factors, including their criticality, vulnerability threat levels, and classification. By establishing an efficient vulnerability management workflow, you can automate the prioritization of vulnerabilities, enabling you to identify and address the most critical issues that have the potential to impact essential systems. The following tips can help you streamline the process, ensuring that the most critical vulnerabilities are addressed promptly and effectively. Establish a clear criteria. Define a set of criteria to evaluate and prioritize vulnerabilities based on factors such as potential impact, exploitability, and likelihood of occurrence. This will provide a consistent framework for decision-making. For example, let's consider a cybersecurity vulnerability analyst who has identified several vulnerabilities within an organization's network infrastructure. They decide to establish a set of criteria to evaluate and prioritize these vulnerabilities. One of the criteria they consider is the exploitability of the vulnerability. They assess whether there are known exploits or attack techniques that specifically target the vulnerability. If a vulnerability has an existing exploit in the wild, it poses a higher risk and would be assigned a higher priority for remediation. The analyst also takes into account the level of access required to exploit a vulnerability. If a vulnerability can be exploited remotely without any authentication, it is considered more critical compared to a vulnerability that requires local access or specific privileges. This criteria helps in determining the immediate threat level associated with each vulnerability. Additionally, considering the ease of exploitation will help understanding the likelihood of an attacker successfully exploiting the vulnerability and the skill level required. If a vulnerability is actively targeted and has a higher likelihood of being exploited, it should be prioritized for immediate attention. By using this set of criteria to evaluate and prioritize vulnerabilities, the analyst can focus their efforts on addressing the most critical and impactful security risks first. This approach helps streamline the prioritization process, ensuring that limited resources are allocated effectively and vulnerabilities are remediated in a timely manner. Evaluate vulnerabilities based on the potential impact they may have on critical business systems, sensitive data, or compliance requirements. Consider the potential financial, reputational, and operational consequences to determine the priority level. Assessing the business impact of a vulnerability is crucial for cybersecurity professionals in determining the level of risk and prioritizing remediation efforts. To assess the business impact, several factors need to be considered. First and foremost, the potential consequences of a successful exploit should be evaluated. This involves understanding the extent of damage that could be caused, such as financial losses, reputational damage, operational disruptions, regulatory non-compliance, or compromise of sensitive data. By quantifying and qualifying these potential impacts, analysts can effectively communicate the severity of the vulnerability to stakeholders. Another aspect to consider is the criticality of the affected systems or assets. Determining the importance of the systems or assets helps in prioritizing the vulnerabilities based on their potential impact on key business functions. Critical systems that are essential for day-to-day operations, such as customer-facing applications, financial systems, or data centers, should be given higher priority for remediation. The existing security controls and mitigating factors should also be taken into account. If there are compensating controls in place, such as intrusion detection systems, firewalls, or network segmentation, that can mitigate the risk associated with the vulnerability, it may lower the overall business impact. On the other hand, vulnerabilities in critical systems with weak or inadequate controls will have a higher impact on the organization's security posture. Additionally, compliance and regulatory requirements should be considered. Non-compliance with industry regulations or legal obligations can have severe consequences, including financial penalties or legal actions. Therefore, vulnerabilities that directly impact compliance should be given priority to ensure adherence to relevant standards.